Hi everyone, and welcome to the first episode of drumroll please, the Crash Out Carpet. So first, I will introduce myself. My name is Angelica, and I am a major in communication with a minor in art history, and I go to Florida Gulf Coast University. And the idea of the Crash Out Carpet came to me during my 3-hour lecture, and during those lectures, I space out. I space out so bad. I start to think of all these different ideas, and I start questioning like the meaning of life, literally, because the professors they're just yapping. And so while the professor was yapping, I just thought to myself, what if I started a podcast? And what if this podcast was about crashing out? It is one of the most relatable things that literally every kid is dealing with who is a part of Gen Z, and it's such a popular term on TikTok. And what made me think about what it should be called is my friends and we always crash out, specifically on this carpet. And one of the first times was actually during my first heartbreak. Well, whatever it was. And I like I knew it was coming. And I let my friends know earlier in the day. I was like, guys, be prepared because this is gonna be insane. And then once it happened, I called them and I was like, guys, please come over. And they came over. They brought ice cream from McDonald's, like vanilla ice cream in a cone, which was literally so sweet. And then we sat down on this carpet and I was like sobbing as I was eating my ice cream. And we were all just talking about like what had happened. They were like, are you good? I'm like, no, I'm not good. And basically since then we've been gathering on this beautiful carpet. This carpet is actually from Walmart. And when I first saw the carpet, it was in the $30 section. And I was like, okay, $30. And then I touched it and it was so soft. And I was like, oh my God, this luxurious carpet is only $30. And then I went to the cash register and I went to go buy it. And the cashier said, oh, this is 130. What? So I ended up splurging. I ended up buying it because it's just so soft and it's really become a staple in my room. It's one of those areas where I can just lay down and relax because it's just so soft. And I think crashing out is just so real. What it really is a state of distress. It's a state where we just like release our emotions, and it's really valid considering the state of the world that we're in right now. And as young adults, we have so many things going on. We're worried about our career, friendship, relationship, the future. And all of these things can pile up to a point where you're crashing out. And to learn more about the phrase, according to Guardian.com, the slang originated in African American vernacular English, and it is more than a decade old. And this is surprising because the term crashing out hasn't become super popular until like 1 or 2 years ago, I think, on TikTok. And do I know what vernacular English means? No, I do not. But I think that is pretty cool to know. Um, what I've also learned through the crash out carpet is that it doesn't matter where you crash out. You could crash out outside, you could crash out inside, you could crash out at your dining room table, or in bed, or on the carpet. And there's something so grounding and humbling, when you're on the ground and you're just like connected to the ground. It's a really grounding experience. And so the crash out carpet really is just a avenue for us to talk about anything about young adulthood and the college experience. And one of the first things that I learned throughout college is the concept of letting people go in and out of your life, because I tend to see the potential in people and really believe in them. And I see relationships as like, this is forever, you know? And so then when friendships end, I'm just like, whoa, what happened? And then when relationships end, I'm like, what? You don't want to be a part of this? Because I know how great I can be and what value I add to your life. So then when they choose to leave, it's like, you have to learn to accept that. And that's one of the toughest life lessons that I'm learning is that people will choose to come and go, and you can't dictate what they're going to do, even if you like them or you want to be their friend. Like, that's entirely their decision. And they're just like missing out on what could have been something great. And um, yeah, so I just think that's something that I've been learning. And this podcast is just really an area to like open up about those specific like life lessons that I've been learning, and I'm sure that you guys are also learning. Um, so yeah, I also want to cover some more like lighthearted topics like funny stories. I also want to interview my friends about their college experiences. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode, and comment down below any questions or any topics that you would like me to cover. These episodes will be uploaded on Monday, Wednesday, Friday for about 10 minutes, although I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to talk to myself for 10 minutes by myself, but maybe I'll get better at it. So yeah, that was the Crash Out Carpet. Bye.